What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons are currently 21-20, which adds up to 41 games, exactly halfway through the 82-game season. So I thought it would be a good time to make a video going through giving awards for certain players on the roster. Of course, in the NBA at the end of the year, they give out awards for Most Improved, Sixth Man of the Year, MVP. So we're going to go through and award those exact awards to the players on our roster as I see fit for the halfway point of the season. So to jump right into it, the first one we are going to do is going to be MVP, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of debate here. It's, of course, going to go to Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is currently averaging 24 points, 6 boards, and 9 rebounds. He has bared the most offensive load out of anybody on this team by a country mile so far. Currently, there's a lot of buzz about him probably making the All-Star game. And even recently, people have started to talk about him maybe making an All-NBA team. As of today, NBA.com just released their MVP ladder for the entire league, and Cade Cunningham was sitting at 9th. That is an incredible feat for a 23-year-old that was a part of a team that won 14 games last year. So I'm super proud of what Cade has done this year, and I don't think that you'd be able to find a single Pistons fan that would argue that he is not the MVP of the team so far. So, moving on, this was definitely one of the toughest choices, but for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Ausar Thompson. I went back and forth pretty much all day on whether I wanted to give this award to Isaiah Stewart or Ausar Thompson, but ultimately, I landed on Ausar Thompson. Ausar Thompson, of course, missed a good portion of the start of the season due to his issue with the blood clots. But since he has came back, he has just been electric on the defensive end. As of today, if you go through and look at our defensive rating while each particular player is on the floor, Ausar Thompson, when he is on the floor, has a 109 defensive rating for our team, which is way lower than anybody else. Second place on that list is Isaiah Stewart with a 112, which is also very good compared to the rest of our team. But Ausar has just been absolutely crazy on the defensive end, which isn't surprising. The dude has shifted plenty of games by just causing havoc, creating turnovers. I think back to that game against Minnesota where he had 6 steals, and I think the majority of them were in the first half. Almost all 6 of those steals led to wide open, fast break buckets for us and completely shifted the game. But I would be remiss not to mention that Isaiah Stewart has been just as good defensively probably. And if you wanted to give him this award instead of Ausar, I totally get it. I have talked about the strides he has made on the defensive end in other videos, but ultimately, after going back and forth, I wanted to give this one to Ausar because just watching the games, he just jumps off of the screen on the defensive end because of his timing, athletic traits, and everything in between. So, moving on, for Most Improved, we are going to give this one to Jaden Ivey, and this just makes me sad, man. Of course, Jaden Ivey is going to be down for quite some time with his broken leg, but before he went down, I feel like he has made some crazy strides for his overall game. Jaden Ivey, coming out of college, the biggest X factor was going to be, can he shoot the ball? His rookie year, he was 34% from 3, which is a couple ticks below league average. His second year, he was 33% from 3, which was a couple more ticks below league average. This year, he shot more threes per game than he ever has and made them at a 41% clip. Jaden Ivey being able to shoot the 3 ball at a consistent rate opened up the game for himself, opened up the game for others, and I just felt like he improved so much, even outside of the shooting aspect. During the early years when Jaden Ivey was a rookie, and even a bit in his second year, he would often kind of go into the paint without really a plan. He would leave his feet and then have a tough time making a decision, which would lead to a lot of turnovers. And that still happened at times this year, but the consistency of that happening turned way down It was pretty infrequent, and I felt like he was just making better decisions overall, and really felt like Jaden Ivey was starting to break out. The funny part about it is Cade Cunningham is actually the odds-on favorite for most improved player for the entire league, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact people are writing off Cade Cunningham last year. I was able to see through the win-loss record, Cade was very good last year as well. But if you wanted to give him this award, I totally get that. So, moving on, for Sixth Man of the Year, it's another time that I have to snub Isaiah Stewart, because Isaiah Stewart has been incredible off the bench, but Malik Beasley, in my eyes, has been even better. Malik Beasley has been the second coming of Vinnie Johnson, the microwave, off the bench. He comes off the bench every night and can swing games with his shooting ability. So many games he has checked into the game and instantly rattled off 2 or 3 big threes right off the bench to spark energy into this team. He is the definition of a bench spark plug. When Jaden Ivey went down, I know there was a lot of people that thought that maybe Malik Beasley would take his spot in the starting lineup, but ultimately JB Bickerstaff decided to continue to use him off the bench, and I think a lot of that decision had to come from the fact that he is the ultimate spark plug. When people talk about scoring punches off of the bench, what they're talking about is players like Malik Beasley. He comes in the game, and he can heat it up in an instant. Again, it sucks because I really wanted to give Isaiah Stewart this award too, but just like Defensive Player of the Year, had to go back and forth and just barely snubbed Stu on this one as well, because Stu has been amazing off the bench too. So moving on, for Clutch Player of the Year, it's gonna be Jaden Ivey again. If you wanted to say Cade Cunningham for this one, I totally get it. Cade Cunningham still leads the league in clutch blocks today. He had that huge finish against the Atlanta Hawks earlier in the year where he had a quick left-handed hook and then sealed the game with a block. But Jaden Ivey had the 2 biggest clutch shots of the season for the Pistons. The one that you see in this picture against the Toronto Raptors, where he hit a running floater at the buzzer to win the game. And then also out in Sacramento, where he hit the corner 3-pointer while getting fouled for the 4-point play to beat the Kings. So in my eyes, Clutch Player of the Year can't go to anybody else besides Jaden Ivey, because he definitely hit the 2 most clutch shots of the Pistons season. So, last but not least, we've got Rookie of the Year, and it's got to go to Ron Holland. I mean, let's be real. There's really not much competition for Ron on this sort of list for Rookie of the Year for the Pistons. Bobby Klintman has still only played in 1 game for us. The other rookies are two-way guys that haven't seen many minutes. But shout out to Ron Holland. He has impacted the game much, much more than the box scores will tell you. On draft night, if you asked me if I was happy with this Ron Holland pick, I would have said probably not. But looking back on it now, in hindsight, I am incredibly thankful that we took Ron Holland, and I am super excited to see the way that rest of his career goes. So let me know what you guys think. There was definitely some toss-ups here. I'd be curious to know if any of you all disagree with any of these choices. The toughest ones for me were probably Sixth Man of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, with Stu being the runner-up for both of those. But let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.